Welcome back to our spiritual practices for Lent. I hope these have been good for you. I hope Lent has been a time set aside from our normal daily routines of our year, and these practices have been helpful for you. This week, we're going to practice something a little bit different than the last couple. The last couple practices are things that I've led you through, and we'll get back to things like that. But this week's practice is a little different in that you're just going to find your own time and space to do this. So I'm just going to kind of lay the groundwork for you, and then you figure out how to put it into place. So our practice for this week is solitude. In the sermon this week, I referenced this idea of allowing God time and space to speak. Often, and you know this is true, we fill the space up. We are busy people. There's always something to be done. It's why vacation feels so good, is because when we're on vacation, we can't do things. We can't do the extra load of laundry or, fixing something around the house because we're away. And so we fill the space up. We always have music on, or we're answering emails or texts or whatever it is. And so solitude is stilling ourselves, being quiet. I have friends that use solitude in their daily personal devotion. They'll read the Bible or they'll spend time in prayer, but then they just sit and they are quiet. And they allow God the space to speak. You know, if you and I were going to have a conversation, the way a good conversation works is that I say something, or I tell you a story, or I tell you something that happened, and then I stop talking and you respond to that, and then I wait for you, and then I respond back, and so on and so forth. But oftentimes in our prayer life, all we do is we talk and we talk and we talk and we talk, and when we're done talking, it's like we just turn around and walk away. We don't often allow God the space for his side of the conversation. And this space of solitude is really important. The space for God to speak is really important, because even if we are sure of God's plan for our life, even if we know he has definitely shown up and given us this path to walk, sometimes we need to sit and we need to hear him confirm that path to us. And sometimes we also need to sit and hear him say, hey, I know I sent you down this pathway, but we're going to make a slight detour. And sometimes we need to hear him reveal the path to us brand new. Hey, this is what I need you to be about. These are the things that I need you to focus on in this season. But we only do that when we are quiet, when we are still. I have been transparent with you that I am not good at these things. I am not great at being quiet. My ADHD brain is always bouncing from one thing to the next. And even in times of solitude, I still struggle with my thoughts going this way and that, remembering something that I forgot to do. And I think God can use even those distracted spaces, and we can turn those distracted moments over to him. God, I'm sorry, my brain is wandering. Would you draw me back in? Would you let me hear your voice in a fuller way? So don't be discouraged. This is a practice, and we're not going to be good at it right out of the gate. It might take a while for us to build up the listening ears to hear the whisper of God's voice. I'm reminded in the New Testament of all the times where Jesus chooses solitude to be with God. He's just fed the 5,000, and then he chooses solitude before going out. His disciples go out in the boat, but he's off by himself praying. Even after the Last Supper, he goes to the garden, and while his disciples come, he leaves them in different groups to be by himself in solitude, to pray by himself, to be still. I have a pastor friend who just recently, he turned off his phone, he turned down his computer, and he chose a couple days away to just be still, to allow God to speak, to slow him down. So we're going to practice solitude. however you can do it, whatever space you can fit that in, be still, be quiet, allow God to speak. And maybe you don't hear his voice the first couple times that you are still. It's a practice. We're going to continue to do it, and hopefully it's something that you can implement daily in your regular devotion practices. We will either see you Thursday night at the in-person spiritual disciplines, or we'll see you Sunday morning or next week here on our next spiritual practice. Have a good week.